We're going to put my name on this paper. Not
Reasonable questions are always acceptable. Okay? Reasonable questions are always acceptable. All right, today we're talking about applications of equations and inequalities. And what this means is quote-unquote real-world problems, right? It says on our sideboard today, I will solve real-world problems with linear equations and inequalities. Now, in your real world, do you ever have to build a flower garden? No.
Sometimes.
In anyone's real world, do they have to build a flower garden? Yes. So I am not talking about your real world. I'm talking about the real world for everyone in general. Okay? I would love to be able to put every word problem on a sheet that had to do with basketball or band or working at Chicken Express or something like that. Okay? But I don't know. This might come as a shock to you, but there are actually people who have jobs that are not at Chicken Express. No, for real. Okay? Now, number one, working at Chicken Express is a very fine thing to do because they make really good chicken and sweet tea. I'm not mocking them. I'm not making fun of them in any way, shape, or form because I'm glad they do what they do. Okay? What I'm saying is there are other jobs, and I want you to be aware of those. Okay? Fair enough? So let's talk about number one. Before we talk about number one, however, we're going to look up at the top. Analyze these problem situations by completing the following steps. You got to do each of these steps on each of the problems. Okay? Determine an appropriate equation or inequality to solve the problem. Solve the equation and inequality over the appropriate domain. What? Wait, so if we're solving a problem about a flower garden, what kind of values should we have? If we're talking about lengths of sides, we should have positive numbers, right? Can't have a negative 3-foot length of a garden, can we? Okay, so we need to make sure the answers we get are appropriate. And then we have to justify the reasonableness of the solution. That's fancy words for prove it. Okay? So let's look at problem number one. A flower garden is in the shape of an isosceles triangle. Each leg is 2 meters shorter than twice the base. If the perimeter is 256 meters, find the dimensions of the flower garden. Students that have issues writing equations from words traditionally don't know where to start. Okay? Hopefully your first inclination was to draw a picture. Was it? Did anybody think, I need to know what this looks like? So if we need to know what it looks like, I need to draw a triangle. But not any kind of triangle. What kind of triangle? Isosceles. I don't want to trick my own self and just draw like an equilateral triangle. It very clearly says an isosceles triangle. So already we have a vocabulary issue, right? If you don't know what an isosceles triangle is, you're probably in trouble. Okay? So if you don't know what it is, what should you do? You could Google it, okay? You could ask me, ask your neighbors, or you could look it up, right? Google it. Did I draw an appropriate triangle here? Is it a perfect triangle? No, I am not a perfect human being. I'll be the first person to admit that, okay? You don't have to agree with me. That's not very nice. Okay, so each leg is 2 meters shorter than twice the base. If we are basing the measurements of the legs off of the measurement of the base, how long is the base? I'm going to say that again, okay? If we are basing the measurements of the legs off of the base, how long is the base? X. Very good. Okay? If we're saying everything is 2 meters shorter than twice the base, or 5 inches longer than the base, or something like that, we have to start with the base. The base is what we don't know. It's X. Now, we don't know the legs either, but we know that each leg is 2 meters shorter, 2 meters shorter than twice the base. Okay? And if that's how long this leg is, how long is this leg? How do you know it's the same thing? Because it's an isosceles triangle. Very good. If the perimeter is 256, once again we have a vocabulary issue, right? If you don't know the meaning of the word, you're in trouble. We all know perimeter means distance around. Okay, I'll go with that for now. Okay, so if I take this leg, which is 2x minus 2, and I take this leg, which is 2x minus 2, and I take the base, which is x, what should that equal? 256. Because it says, determine an appropriate equation or inequality to solve the problem. Done. Now we have to solve it. 2, 4, 5 x's minus 4 equals 256. If I add 4 to both sides to get rid of this thing, I get 5x equals 260. And then by dividing 5 on both sides, I get x equals 52. Excuse me, 52 what? Well, how do you know it's meters? Oh, because it says, right? Okay, the perimeter is measured in meters. Right here it tells us. So I know that this is 52 meters. Now I have to answer the question or the statement. It says, find the dimensions of the flower garden. I cannot just circle this and be done. Okay? Each leg is what? 102. Where in the world did you get 102? Oh, because 52 times 2 is 104 and then minus 2. Put it into that little part right there. Oh, good. 102 what? Meters long, right? And the base is 52 meters long. So now we've solved it and answered it over the appropriate domain. Now we have to justify it. Fancy words for what? Prove it. Well, 102 plus 102 plus 52. 102 and 102 is 204 plus 52. What did I say? Did I say 104? You guys know I meant 204, right? 204 plus 52? 56. Oh my gosh, that's right. Done. Okay? So what's my actual answer for this problem? What part of this is my answer?
The dimensions of the...
So all of it?
Yeah.
The equation, the solving and the answering, and the justification, that's all required for each one of these, right? But the actual answer to the problem is these, isn't it? Okay? Any questions? Anton's Automobiles, that's such a great name. Anton's Automobiles is having a promotional day to bring in new customers. They're roping off an outdoor area adjacent to the sales building for tables and snacks. God bless you. The longer side of the roped off area is 5 feet shorter than 2.5 times the length of the smallest side. The third side is 16.5 feet longer than half of the shortest side. If 111 feet and 6 inches of rope is used to enclose the area, what is the length of each side? Where should I start? Draw the picture, okay? So I've got a building, right? I've got a building. This is my sales building. Okay? There's my sales building. And I've got, wait, if I've got 3 sides, is that a triangle? What does that word mean? Next to, right? Adjacent? So, do I have a triangle? No. I have a shortest side, I have a longest side, and then I have like a medium side, right? That's up next, up adjacent to the sales building. I don't know why they want it not a rectangle. They didn't ask me. Okay? Maybe there's dogs on ropes that go right up to there and they don't want the dogs eating the food. I don't know. Okay? So if the longer side is blah, 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 blah than the smallest side, and the third side is blah, 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 blah than the shortest side, what do I know about the shortest side? It's x. So now let's talk about the longer side. 5 feet shorter than 2.5 times the length of the smallest side. So 5 feet shorter. Are we using fractions or decimals? Just asking. Decimals, okay. Then 2.5 feet or times the shortest side. You okay with that? And then the third side is 16.5 feet longer than half the shortest side. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now what?
Put it away.
Put it away? Is that what you said?
What?
What did she say?
I don't know what I just said.
And we need an equation or an inequality. Is
I have
this
a question.
an equation or an inequality? Answer that for me first. Is it an equation or an inequality? What is the length of each side? It's an equation. It's not asking for a range of numbers. It's asking for one number. All right, the length of each side. Okay.
Okay, so the other part of the building. That's
Yep, the sales building?
adjacent to- Yeah. Don't we need to kind of do something?
No, we don't care about the building
Oh, we don't?
because we didn't run rope back there. We only have rope here, here, and here.
Oh, okay.
That's why they put it up against the building so they could have a bigger area. Because we need snacks. Snacks are important.
You're right.
Okay. So now what? Set up the equation. What's the equation going to look like? X plus 2.5x minus 5 plus 0.5x plus 16.5 equals. This crazy kid last period, you know what he said? 111.5. And some of the other kids were like, dude, it says 6.
Oh God.
And he was like, yeah, but 6 inches is half a foot. And I was like, good, let's write 0.5. Okay? Now, guys, is this a perimeter? If we're talking about the distance around the whole area, is it a perimeter? The whole area, yeah, but we're only talking about the rope we used. So it is kind of like a perimeter. We just don't care about the wall where the sales building is. Does that make sense? Does that help answer your question? Okay. So now what? Yeah, combine your like terms, right? I got an x, I got a 2.5x, and I got a 0.5x. 4x. I've got a negative 5 and a positive 16.5. Plus 11.5. So if I subtract 11.5 from both sides, I get 4x equals 100. Oh my gosh. X is 25. Then what? What do we do? Oh, plug it in. Like a Glade air freshener.
Wow. LOL.
So the shortest side, whoops, the shortest side is what? 25 feet long. The, what do you want to call it? Medium side? Is that okay? The medium side is, well, This one's a medium side. Half of 25 is 12.5. 12.5 plus 16.5? 29 feet long. And the longest side is 2.5 times 25 minus 5. Gosh, I wish we had some sort of box on our desk where we could enter numbers and then hit enter and it would tell us the answer. 62.5 is
I thought we were using this part.
57.5 feet long. Is it 57 or 62? 57? So where's my proof? How do I show my work? How do I show my answer is correct? 57.5 plus 29 plus 25. 111.5. Done. Questions? Okay, look at number 3 then. 2 trains leave Santa Fe Station and travel in opposite directions. I think it said travel, but hopefully you knew I meant travel. Okay. One is going 64 kilometers per hour and the other is going 72 kilometers per hour. And how many hours will they be 612 kilometers apart? Should we draw a picture with this one?
Yes.
Okay. I will not be drawing trains. If you don't like that, go ahead and get over it now. Okay? I'm going to draw Santa Fe Station. That's Santa Fe. One train going in this direction was going 64 kilometers per hour. And one train going the opposite direction was going 72 kilometers per hour. And at some point, they are 612 kilometers apart. Right? So does it make sense that I would... Wait, what do you think I should do? You think this should be an inequality? How many hours will they be 612 kilometers apart? That's going to be a specific time, right? Not a general... Okay, so have you ever seen this equation before? D equals RT. Distance equals rate times time. Okay. So if our distance is 612, how could I figure out the distance? R times T. Do I know T? Oh, in fact, that's what I'm trying to find, right? How many hours? But if I take the rate of the first train and add the rate of the second train, shouldn't that give me the right answer?
Oh gosh, I'm using.
You can use X's, that's fine. I just used T because it was the time that we're trying to figure out. What's 72T plus 64T? 136T equals 612. 612 divided by 136. Nope.
It's 9 over 2.
So 4.5. So tell me what the answer is then. In 4.5 hours, comma, The trains will be 612 kilometers apart. Prove it. 72 times 4.5 plus 64 times 4.5 should equal 612. Does it?
Make that 72 I thought it was 12.
Judgmental.
Yeah, it does.
It does, right? Okay, so we're good? Please turn the page. Please look at number 5. We need to talk about Anton's automobiles again. Because Mary Ellen, my friend Mary Ellen, she wants to purchase a car from Anton's Automobiles that costs $9,000. She wants to pay off the car loan in 4 years. What simple interest rates allow for not spending more than $3,000 on interest in that time period? Equation or inequality? Tell me how you know it's an inequality.
This is interest rate.
Besides the fact that it says inequality right up here.
Oh, right. You're right.
Because see, the one before that said equation right up there? Okay? Yeah, most of you are seeing it, right? What simple interest rates allow for not spending more than $3,000? Does that, do those little parts of the language help to see? Okay? Now, it says you're supposed to use this. Do you have any idea what that means?
No.
I equals PRT. I is the interest. P is the principal. P is the principal. That's the amount you start with. It's not Mr. Wilson. We're not talking about him. Okay? R is the rate and T is the time. So what do we know? 3,000 is the I. What else do we know? Do we know the P? Do we know how much the car started costing? $9,000? And what's R? Do we know it? What interest rates? That's what we're solving for, so it's going to stay in R. Do we know T? 4 years. So, after making a big deal out of it, what did I mess up on? Yeah, I made an equation, didn't I? Okay, what should it be?
Less than 3,000.
This should be less than 3,000. This side has to be less than 3,000. Okay? Does that make sense? So now how do we solve this?
Yes. You can subtract 9,000.
Why would I subtract 9,000? It's being multiplied by R. So we need to divide it, right? But can I divide by 36,000? Okay, so we're missing a step. 3,000 is greater than or equal to 36,000 times R. Now can I divide by 36,000? Okay. Divide by 36,000. What is R less than or equal to? $3,000 divided by 36,000. 0.083 repeating.
Yes.
Okay. So I need that to make sense to you, though. What does that mean? It's asking what simple interest rates allow for not spending more than $3,000 on interest. What does that mean? My rate has to be less than 8 1/3%. Right?
Right.
So, oops, not mine. Mary Ellen.
Are you just secretly making this do?
Yeah, I totally make up all my friends. You know that.
Wow, really long.
Mary Ellen must have an interest rate what do you want me to say?
8.
Below
Below?
or equal to?
So less than or equal to? $8 1/3%.
Is that realistic?
Yes. Yeah. You should be able to find an interest. If your credit is good enough, you should be able to find an interest rate around that or less. On houses right now, you can get 2 and 3 and 4% interest rate. Now, I mean, that's for a 30-year loan, so hopefully you won't be paying on this car for 30 years. And in fact, it tells us she wants to pay it off in 4 years, right? Okay? So yeah, I believe that's a fairly appropriate interest rate. Okay? So, you have A, B, and C. You have D, E, F, and G. Okay? You have A through G to do for homework. Are there any questions? What does that mean about 4 and 6?
They're extra. They're not fun.
They're extra. Okay? Even though you creepers keep bugging me about extra credit, I'm still giving you some because there's some people who actually care and are doing it. Okay? Any questions? Anyone? Peace.